to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
All right, welcome to This Week in Marketing with San Diego American Marketing Association. You are listening to WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in internet talk. My name is Sam. I am your host today. We've got a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about marketing to baby boomers. So that's a huge demographic that is nearing closer to retirement, and that is the topic today. But before we get into that, wanted to talk about a couple announcements. We have Cause Conference is scheduled for Friday, October 12th, 2018. We are going to host that at the Town and Country Convention Center in San Diego. It's a really great venue. We're going to be talking all types of cause-focused marketing. There's going to be a ton of brands there, ton of marketers, ton of talks, ton of networking opportunities for everybody in the cause-focused space. And you don't just have to be a nonprofit to attend. Any business that has some sort of charity arm or some sort of, cause that they're supporting can benefit from this talk. And we actually just announced the speaker, and the entire speaking lineup was just announced last week. Really excited about that. The speaker this year the headliner is Patrick Combs. He is a renowned business keynote speaker. He shared his stories and strategies with millions of people around the globe for the last 25 years. He's like an actor and a public speaker, and he helps businesses. He is a thought leader on passion, possibility, and heart-based businesses. So you can book tickets now. They are $189 for AMA members and $299 for non-members. But if you become a member, you can join at any time for the AMA, and you can save instantly. And, there's a ton more events coming up, which I'm going to touch on right now. We have a ton more events in the pipeline. There's two in September. There's one on the 13th, Hispanic Marketing Special Interest Group. Mary Beth McCabe will be talking about travel among the Hispanic community, trends and insights for 2018 and beyond. It's going to be a really great chat. I believe that's at USD. You can go to the website. We'll post it in the show notes to talk a little bit more about that. It's going to be a pretty good talk for those of you in the travel space. And on the 26th of September, we have the Research Special Interest Groups. The title of this talk is Growing Your Circle of Impact. We'll be using research to create business relationships with your business partners. Using research to create great relationships with your business partners. The speaker of that talk is Mikhail Lomax. I don't know how to pronounce it. I haven't met him yet. He's the U.S. and Canada Brand Insights Manager at HP. So that's going to be a really good talk. I think the ticket's only like $10 for that. And we are going to, talk a little bit about how to use research. What's the point of it? How can you use it to benefit your bottom line, but also benefit your client and business relationships, right? So there's more to just research than learning about the consumer. You need to learn about your industry and, your relationships with all types of businesses around you. So that's all good. Really excited about that. And, the other big events that we have in the pipeline is we have Art of Marketing is coming up in April. So, that's a really fun opportunity, and more to come on that, in the coming months, but mark your calendars there. I think it's April 12th. I need to double check there, but we're all good. So in the studio today, sorry, that was a long delay there. In the studio today, we have Kevin. What's up, Kevin?
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about, like I said, baby boomers. Our host is running a little bit late at this time. So Erica from Harmony Home Medical. It's a medical supply store in San Diego, and pretty cool industry, actually. I mean, there's a ton of support and money in this demographic, and we're going to be talking about that stuff. But before we get on to that, I think wanted to briefly touch with Kevin about E2M's podcast that you host as well, right?
Yes, thanks, Sam. I've been hosting the E2M podcast from my company. It's called The Marketing Microscope. We cover topics all about copywriting, web design, SEO, and content marketing. For the kickoff, since my background is copywriting, we've spent the last 4 segments covering topics about writing, about hiring writers, about how you can create educational content that sells an audience, just that sort of stuff. And hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to start shifting over to SEO and link building. We've got a few good guests coming in, and it's been a really good experience so far.
What kind of shows have you? So your show's been mainly copywriting focused.
So far, it's been mostly copywriting. The last segment we did, we worked with a copywriter consultant out of Los Angeles, who he's been a copywriter for almost 15 years now, and in the past 5 years, he's shifted over to consulting. The company was called Damala Copywriting. We got a really good segment with Dave was the name. He went over the whole topic of how to hire a copywriter, what to look for in a good copywriter, and more importantly, the red flags to look for. And an interesting topic that he brought up was the hardest part of being a copywriting consultant or managing copywriters is really dealing with a lot of copywriters. Since it's such a subjective art, they write their work and they're convinced that their work is perfect and it's all open to interpretation. And a lot of the hardest times is dealing with, he calls them proud writers, who you got to bring them down to earth every once in a while if their copywriting is not meeting the standards, which was probably the most interesting part of the show.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll be touching on that a lot today as well, with writing copy and marketing materials towards baby boomers, and that's kind of an interesting topic here. Is like, at the end of the day, is the writer right? Bad pun there. Or is the company right? Even if the writer thinks it's wrong and the company's like, this is how I want it, is that the right way to go about your marketing materials?
Well, like I said, it's just so subjective, but at the end of the day, the client's always right. And that's the hardest part for me, especially being a copywriter and my background. I found the biggest key to really meet the client's demands is it all comes down to the brief. Like if you make a detailed brief before you start a project, you get a feel for their brand voice, their goals, everything you want. And the better you get the brief down, the better the output's going to be. Awesome.
Right. So, I think it's a good time to transition into the kind of the heart of the show today. We are actually in the studio today. We have Erica Sell, who's the owner of Harmony Home Medical, which is a home medical supply store, medical equipment rentals, medical supplies, home accessibility, all those great products for, I don't want to say only the older generations, right? But I'm assuming that's the majority of your clientele is in the baby boom and older demographic. I don't know. We're going to learn more about it, but welcome, Erica. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So, Erica, we have a few minutes left here in the first segment. I wanted to kind of just touch base on kind of the history behind Harmony Home Medical, your kind of history in the industry, and just learn, so the listeners can learn a little bit more about you and the company.
Great. Okay. So, I grew up around this industry. My mom's a PT, my dad's a doctor. And my mom started a medical equipment store around the traditional model of Medicare reimbursements and doing a better job within that sphere. And as I worked in there and as I grew into adulthood, went through college and saw the market changing, the Medicare reimbursement and environment changing, I wanted to create a space that people got the education and the products they wanted rather than just what they were given. And open up their opportunities to be what I always call the Nordstroms of DME versus the Walmarts of DME. There really wasn't a retail space before in our industry. So I wanted to make one that was user-friendly, so to speak, and showed people their options inside and outside of their homes, do the whole spectrum for aging in place, because everybody always said that narrative, that they want to stay at home, they want to age at home. And so giving them the tools to do so, regardless of what third-party payers are involved, just all the opportunities on the table. That was our mission.
Okay, I love that. So, your type of general clientele, are they just people that are kind of bound by the financial guidelines of their insurance, or is it a mixture?
It's a mixture. So we always advocate people using their insurance where they can, and we're really educated on that, even though we don't bill insurance. But what's happened in the last 6 years is that Medicare has really gone away for medical equipment in a fairly major way. The basics are covered, but not what everybody needs. So we have people coming to us from all aspects of life. We do help people who have, less financial means get grants and look into the community for other resources. And then we have people that money's not an object, doesn't matter. They just want to get everything possible to make their life comfortable. So we see people from that full range.
Interesting. And I'm sure there's that's a whole side of, we could do a whole show around kind of educating the consumers about, different ways to make a purchase, especially if it's a bigger purchase, right? And that kind of brings up a really interesting, it's almost like you'll have, two different funnels, right, of people who have the insurance at their back or people that don't have the insurance behind their back but need to kind of, learn more about how to, make their goals happen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's pretty interesting. And do you guys, when somebody comes in, do you like qualify them right away to depending on what their needs are, or when does it get to the point where it's like, all right, we need to educate them on how to make the spend?
So first we look at what they need physically, what they physically need, what their ideal scenario would be, and then we can put a cost to that. All
right, cool. I love this. We'll finish this question after the next segment. You are listening to This Week in Marketing on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in internet talk. Thank you.
A podcast or radio show on WS Radio is a great way to create content marketing. Turn prospects into customers into raving fans. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on VinVillage Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The World Link program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
All right, welcome back to This Week in Marketing with the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association. We are in the studio today talking about baby boomers. We have my co-host Kevin Speck and Erica Sell is our guest today, the owner of Harmony Home Medical. Great store here in San Diego. We're talking baby boomers. And before the break, we were touching on kind of Erica's process for qualifying a customer, or I don't know if qualifying is the right word, but figuring out what information you need to provide them to make the sale, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to continue on that a little bit, kind of what your guys' process is.
Yeah. So, well, first it's figuring out if the person is in for themselves or for a family member. A lot of times we have baby boomers in the store and they're shopping for their parents. The baby boomer generation is more willing to part with their money, we'll say, than their parents' generation, the silent generation, or the people who experienced the Great Depression and some of the wars. So a lot of times we'll find the boomers are shopping for their parents at the same time getting educated about what they'll need for themselves down the road. And we try to just create the ideal picture and what those products and services look like. And then if there's any financial limitations or parameters that they're working within, then how do we get the most important things done first? What third-party payer resources exist? And maybe a game plan for purchases down the road if they're not being able to change their house completely how they need it now, or buy everything that they'd like to have right now. We give them some options, and also we give some payment plans.
Interesting. It almost sounds like consulting in addition to just kind of like a storefront as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how we like to lead, because no one spends their spare time becoming a DME expert, durable medical equipment expert. So a lot of times they're coming in for the first time to this kind of store and need a little guidance.
Interesting. And then do you see kind of repeat customers where somebody comes in and purchases products for their parents and then comes back and purchases something for themselves?
Usually if that's the process, it's they purchased for a spouse and then they needed something for themselves. But we do see repeat customers all the time, because whether it's themselves, their spouse, or their parent, they're going down the path, progressing along the road of needing more things. So they'll come in for that extra grab bar, going from the walker to maybe a transport chair. So yeah, we see people again needing new things.
Definitely. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I guess touching on your point about them making a purchase for their parents or the silent generation,
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because, now all of a sudden you're not just you're marketing to the baby boom gen, but marketing to them so they make a purchase for somebody not in that generation, right? Which is really interesting because you see that with a ton of industries, whether it's marketing to parents for something for their kids, marketing to parents for their parents, right? So,
yes.
I guess the show is we've got more topics to cover than just, products that are for the baby booms themselves. But I think Kevin wanted to bring up a few facts about the baby boom gen, and then we'll kind of talk through some major differences.
Yeah. Eric, I really like what you said about baby boomers not being afraid to part with their money. It's an interesting stat. A lot of people forget that they get caught up with all the latest marketing technology and all the new channels, that they're focusing on the younger generation, and they forget that the baby boomers have about 70% of the disposable income in the United States, according to Nielsen. And that brings up another point on that they're not afraid to part with their money, and that a big emphasis of your business is on education. So question for you is, how do you go about when you're marketing your solution or you're educating a baby boomer about your products? What are kind of some strategies you do? Like, let's say I come in and I know nothing, and I want to know, like, what's the best solution for my parent?
So we look at what their mobility limitations are and what their current living environment is, and any plans they have for change in that in the future. moving into their own home, the parent moving into the child's home, the parent moving to a smaller home, in any diagnosis that we're working with. So we try to get the whole story so that we can make a good plan for them and make some good recommendations on product. And a lot of times we like to focus on the possibilities and the values that they get to keep by doing this, rather than the fear of fall or the fear of not being able to do that. And I think that appeals really well and more largely to the boomers is, hey, this provides you independence. This provides you freedom, not this keeps you from breaking your leg. This keeps you from falling. The more positive opportunities speaks to a larger section of the baby boomers.
So,
go ahead.
So that kind of brings up an interesting, I wanted to touch on what are like the themes, I guess, in like the marketing, especially to baby boomers. And that kind of touches on the psychology of the demographic themselves, right? So, outside of like wanting freedom and independence, or not necessarily wanting it, but wanting to keep it, right, in their, domain or their, sphere of influence, I guess. What are there any other kind of psychological differences that you see, or any type of themes with the baby boom generation that you don't find in the millennial or the younger demographic?
With the younger, it's harder to say because we don't interact with them as often. But those that do come in, like the caregivers, the paid caregivers, are in that generation a lot of times. And they are looking for solutions too, and in the light of staying independent. But a lot of times it's post-incident, meaning it's after a problem, a fall, or something has occurred. And they are also very educated, where the boomers, they educate themselves a lot before they come into looking online, doing research. But with the boomers, I feel like they're even more proactive in what can I create for myself as I age. Maybe that's because aging is more in front of them, and they know that they're going to be in the same space their parents are or had been. So prevention is a really key conversation and a benefit they're looking for, and I think more so than any of the generations we work with.
So just to jump in real quick, just to back up for a second, would you say the bulk of the people you work with, is it prevention or is it following an accident?
It's about 50-50, and that's also about how many boomers versus other generations we work with. So when it comes to the silent generation and the generations before boomers, a lot of times it's after something has happened, or when they've had a really close call and they recovered fairly well, but they don't want it to happen with a worse outcome. So about 50-50. And I would say the younger boomers and then the tip of the millennials are the ones that are coming in before something's going on or as they see their parent being at risk. And then the older, and then people who are just coming because they're paid caregivers and aren't planning for a parent. Those ones are usually the ones that are getting something after an incident happened.
Interesting. Yeah, that's all good stuff. So now, I mean, you have you have people that are, I guess walk-ins, right? That come in and they see you or they see you online or something like that. But, I wanted to also touch on what channels have worked well for you guys in the marketing space. I know you guys have done some videos and, there's probably a ton of other, ways you get business, obviously. So, maybe we can start talking a little bit about those different marketing channels that have worked for you guys in the past.
Yeah, this is really interesting because it's changed for us. So this year we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. So I've been in San Diego for a little while, and my marketing has changed a lot as I've stayed in this industry. So in the beginning, it was a lot of visiting facilities and visiting people and making that person relationship. And that's still important, but more and more our business has come from the internet and has come from us putting out valuable content to largely the baby boomers who are using things like YouTube and Facebook more. I don't have a lot of clients coming in off of Facebook. We're on there, but not a ton, but more the Google searches and now the YouTube also views, educating on products, demonstrating products. Those are stronger referral sources than they've ever been. I'd say probably like a 50-60% makeup.
Oh, wow.
Whereas before, that leaned more towards the relationships we built with facilities and with assisted livings, doing events one-on-one with people there.
Yeah, definitely. So let's back up for a sec. I want to talk about this in-person relationship. I think I know the answer here, and I'm sure a lot of listeners know as well, but, kind of what is the benefits of that? Why did it work? And, you said it hasn't gone away, right?
Right.
But so how do you find that balance between spending your time physically meeting people and building those connections versus, spending your time building other channels and other marketing materials?
Most of the time now we do events. So it'll be targeted events, and that's usually on a weekend or it's a calendared thing. So our day-to-day is building our general marketing plan, our internet presence, our ads, and then doing targeted events where we get to communicate our mission and go a little deeper with every person we meet. So you get to relationship build right there, which is difficult to do in a commercial spot or in an ad in the paper. So being able to get specific to their story and make a personal connection. And those people generally will come into the store.
So when you say events, do you mean like charity where you have a booth, or is it like, are they expos, or are they stuff that you put on yourself?
All of it. We're doing an event in October. We go to the Caregiver Expo, the Successful Aging Expo. We go to health fairs. We do nonprofit. The Wheelchair Dancers of San Diego is one of our favorites. And then the Caregiver Coalition, I'm a part of that, and we put on events every month, and we'll participate in those and help just educate people who are caring for people on what's out there.
Cool. I love that. I think we're going to have to take a break here. You're listening to WSRadio.com. This is This Week in Marketing from the American Marketing Association. We'll see you in a bit.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine, and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Kenja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of Universal Talk Laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal Talk Laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kenja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KenjaDixon.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
All right, welcome back to This Week in Marketing. We are talking baby boom with Erica Sell of Harmony Home Medical Supplies. Great store here in San Diego. And before the break, we were talking about personal connections and leveraging that physical in-person marketing. It's definitely a challenge for a lot of companies, especially, really depends on what, I feel like it depends on what your margins are and how quickly you can kind of build those connections to kind of see an ROI from that stuff. At least I know from a lot of my clients. Start off this question to continue the in-person marketing is, how long does that sales process usually take from meeting somebody at an expo to, actually getting their product into their home?
That is a moving target. That's a tough one. I had a client in last week who said, I remember you. I met you a year and a half ago at the Solana Beach Health Fair, and you taught me this and that, and I put a stair lift in my house last month, and I'm back again. I didn't know she had even visited our store, worked with an employee of mine, installed a stair lift, and was now back for some bath equipment. And she had met us a year and a half ago and remembered us all of that time. Whereas we did the Caregiver Expo back in the spring, in March, I think it was, and the next Monday I had several people come in that I met at that event. So I remember when I was first starting out doing a lot of these because it is a fairly low-cost way. A lot of times you can do a health fair and expo for low to no cost. And just getting discouraged sometimes because the sale process was long, and you have to be a little greedy when you're first starting going out and just putting out your time and just staying with it as you meet people in the community.
Cool. So you say the initial investment is low to none. Are you talking about
some of them? Yeah,
some of them. So are you actually walking around the floor, or do you guys have a booth where consumers are coming to you?
A booth, and sometimes health fair ones are $50, very inexpensive, and then other larger ones like that are put on by the Union Tribune are a couple $1,000. So there's some variance there, but even the smaller exposure ones, like that Solana Beach one, cost, I think it was $150. And just that one client, if she was the only person I met out of that, that was a times 50 of our spend, so they can be worthwhile. Sometimes it feels like, I don't know if anyone's coming in off of that, but they eventually do. You stay in the market and you stay present and you keep going.
What advice would you give to somebody looking to kind of not necessarily join the healthcare expo, but kind of get into the expo space? Or, with a limited budget, I guess we're talking companies with limited budgets, right? That's kind of the theme of the show in general, right? If you had millions and millions of dollars, it's pretty easy to spend that, right? So
right.
What kind of advice would you give somebody looking to start building a funnel from these physical expos or events?
Well, first do your research on what events are out there, who puts them on, and then also become, I guess we could almost call it civically involved, but inside your industry. So associations like your own. I have associations in my industry that meet every month that I can participate in, and I can add value to them in their cause. And so then I can participate at their events for no cost. So when I spend my time and give things, maybe like pens or the stress balls, I can add different things to the event, but it's fairly low cost. I add my expertise and my participation in making it happen.
Cool. I love that. And so outside of, I think we've done a pretty good job covering that physical marketing. Last question I have regarding that is kind of follow-up techniques. What kind of information do you get from the consumers that come up to you in the booths? What is the process for, getting a hold of them after the event, or do you just wait for them to come back to you?
In the past, we've just waited for them to come back to us. I wouldn't say that's the best method of doing it. I could say hold a raffle at your table or something to have people give you their information, to give them a gentle follow-up. Just a quick email, or shoot a coupon to them in their mail or their inbox to stay in front of them. We do that with the monthly email newsletter, should they care to sign up. But I think a little stronger push to do so is a better method, and we're doing that now. But so many events I had gone without that, and then my new marketing person asked me that, and I was like, I kind of miss that. I think it's important to do.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So that kind of is a good transition into the next kind of channel, I guess you can call it, is, you said that you guys have been doing some video, and that YouTube visits and views have really grown in the last 10 years, right? So obviously that's the same across any industry and any demographic, especially as the baby boom gen gets more comfortable using the internet, right? We see that in a ton of e-commerce industries where the age of the purchasers is changing and getting older. What are the tactics that you guys have used in your video creation, and what has been kind of like the purpose for doing that?
Yeah, so I did videos initially just on product to educate, put them on our site, and we were getting some views there. And my email newsletters were just text, and those didn't always get that much response, and maybe a 15% open rate, which I guess is higher than a lot of industry averages, but still not that much. So then I started adding video into our emails. So I use a specific software that lets you roll a 3-minute clip of what your video is going to be, and then they can see that and click on it from the email. So we had more like a 33% open rate when we had those videos in, and then it's just a video either on a training piece, like how to do safe transfers, or on a product, a new, neat product to the market. And the products that have national exposure, like through their own commercials, and maybe other healthcare systems introducing them to customers, those had more clicks because their name was in the title. So that might be a piece to work with, as something that may be a national trend, something people are searching for more, put that in the title of your video. But videos seem to have a larger appeal than reading now in our marketing pieces.
Okay, that's interesting. And we actually talked last week about like a piggybacking off of national trends, especially if you've got, if you're reselling a product or you're a distributor of something, right? So that's a really, really good piece of advice. I guess, I wanted to touch on, so we create the videos. Each video has a separate purpose. Obviously, the end goal is to make money off of a sale, right? But some of them are instructional videos about products. Some of them are how do you do a safe transfer from the bathroom or the tub back into the bathroom, something like that. What do you find is like the most difficult aspect of creating these videos, right? Because if I'm thinking about the average listener, where it's like, all right, I got $5,000 to spend on a video, where do I start? Like, what do I need to make sure I put my money in the most?
Well, video quality is important. I did most of mine, especially in the beginning, just with our iPhone in the store. So it was not a professionally produced video by any means. Our more recent ones, we had a more professional camera that a staff person of mine, is their hobby, and they turned out nicer. I think the hardest part about the video, whether you're using a professional production crew or not, is getting the message and the most impact in a short amount of time. The content of your video, the way that it captures their attention and keeps them plugged in, is really important. And you could do that well with zero budget, and you could do that poorly with $1 million budget. You have to think about that. And then if you're going to spend some money on production, the video and the sound quality, getting that sound away from the phone onto the person with a microphone, and the lighting in there together with a really good presentation, I think are key.
Definitely. We actually did a show, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago about video marketing. So I'll make sure to put that podcast link in the show notes here for listeners out there, but because we talked a lot about really great video marketing tips there. Erica, have you seen a difference in response to the iPhone videos versus the ones that are more professionally produced?
Yes, it did.
Hopefully it's positive, right?
Yes, it's positive. Yes, the ones that are more professionally produced definitely had more response. and we still have a long ways to go in really getting those done right, because I've just noticed, the interest in this and using it is more powerful. So we'll start to put more resources there and try to make them better and better, and even introduce new personalities, maybe even people that we would pay from the outside that have a character or a funniness about them that's intriguing, and tie that into our message.
Oh, go ahead.
Just to jump in here with some more stats here, it's really interesting that the baby boomers, they're really the first generation of people who are raised on television. So it's interesting that they're really sucked into TV or into video content. Mm-hmm. And another stat that I found that I thought was really interesting is the baby boomers are more likely to share content than any other generation. So when it comes to building video, like you said, a lot of it comes down to educating and building relationships just in a way they can relate to, and then that motivates them to share. Have you seen any sort of trends in that regard?
That is really interesting. And so on my software that we use for our video and for MailChimp for emails, you can see who's viewing and sharing. And it is true. It's been service providers that I know that are actually boomers themselves that shared, 75 times on one video.
That's great.
So definitely they share a lot, and they're very savvy in their market research and product research. So that helps them, do that better when they share it with their friends and with their loved ones.
Yeah, so they do a lot of research, right? So you can't hit them with the fluff as much, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because I wanted to, in the next segment, we'll talk about, how do you leverage video without a bunch of products in your store, which we'll talk about soon. You're listening to This Week in Marketing from the American Marketing Association San Diego. This is WSRadio.com.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple, and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com, on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goley, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
Did you know the majority of radio listeners are between the ages of 35 and 54, have a household income of more than $100,000, are classified as executives or professionals, and share the show they listen to? Become part of the Peggy Smedley Show to reach listeners looking for information on connected devices through cost-effective radio commercials or segment sponsorships. Contact us at 630-933-0844 for more information or visit PeggySmedleyShow.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
All right, welcome back to This Week in Marketing. We're talking baby boom with Erica Sell of Harmony Home Medical. We kind of flew through this entire hour almost, so we're almost finished. We have about 10 minutes left, so a really good conversation, and I think we've had some pretty good takeaways for the audience here. Wanted to talk a little bit about creating sort of video content for baby boomers in an industry where there's not a big storefront of products to choose from, right? One of my companies I work for is called Vitamedica. They sell like supplements for healthy living, right? So you can't make too many videos of somebody swallowing pills or taking lotions or anything like that. So if it's a lotion company or supplement company like that, what are your like tips for creating something for the baby boom gen that resonates?
So, of course, starting with education on what the product is, but then some testimonials of people with success, living great lives as a result of using these products. And then I love to look to other complementary industries or health practices. I call it adding value, bringing in other people who are experts that might be able to say, when you're using this supplement, and also practicing yoga, doing acupuncture regularly, seeing your chiro, different people that can add other layers of value so someone has this whole picture health. So I always think that's great, is there's so many people doing great things out there, so they could bring those in and show how it complements their product.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also like building relationships that could benefit you in the long run too, right? So
right, and opening up to their audience as well. They might have a large customer base or following, so it's a great way to go.
Okay, cool. So we touched on video. Let's talk a little bit about email, and then we'll move on to the website. Hopefully we can get all that in the next 7 minutes here. Email, you've said you've used MailChimp, is that right?
Uh-huh.
And
yes.
That has been successful for you guys?
Yeah, well, it's a helpful tool, and it keeps us in front of people. I don't think that's been a big driver of conversions, but it's helped us introduce new products and say hello and just try to stay top of mind for the people that know us.
Would you say that these people are, most of the people in your email campaigns, are they already purchasers? Are they are they people that you're trying to sell, or is it just kind of information?
No, for us, our email list are people that have interacted with us before. So it's going to be existing referral sources, existing customers. They may not have been in since the first year we opened, but they've interacted with us in the past, and we want to just stay in touch with them and have them interact with us in the future.
Okay, cool. Now, if somebody's trying to segment their email campaigns specifically to the older generations, if they have that type of demographic information in their MailChimp or whatever email software they're using, do you find that the same, marketing values play, education and visuals, and is it almost like just a written version or an email version of a video that we're sending out?
Yeah, I think so. If you could take it a little personalized too, how they can add the name, or if you could divide your list into people with specific needs or specific sectors, depending on what your industry is. So for mine, something that could be a good example there is specific diagnosis. So if I have customers organized like that, then I can send them something that really speaks to their need. And they're always looking for more information, more value, and things relative to them.
Okay, I love that. So there's definitely So in that example, I want to dive into that a little bit, if that's okay. There's a little bit of privacy involved with that, right? So you can't send an email to everybody that's in a wheelchair being like, hey, this is the email for wheelchair people, right? So how do you kind of send that message? How would you suggest sending that message to people with specific needs without personalizing it in a way that doesn't compromise, that feeling of like, how do they know so much about me?
Well, it depends where your leads are coming from and how much you know them. So for us, we've almost met every person on our list. I mean, somebody in my store has met every person on our list, and they've either voluntarily given that information or not. So if your list is maybe more generic and you don't know them, then the headline that speaks to that need or cause, that subject line, and then diving right into the valuable stuff, maybe not getting as personal with the name. But still knowing what your sectors are in your customer base and how to pull out each one with different content pieces.
Okay, cool. I love that. So let's quickly transition here to websites. There's a big difference in people visiting your site. I'm guessing there's a big difference. You don't see a ton of millennials visiting Harmony Home Medical. Maybe that's not the case. I'm not quite sure.
We get a lot through our mobile site as for injury. So I noticed that the millennials coming in are using us off of their Google Maps on their phone, getting directions, accessing the rental page because they've sprained their ankle or broke a leg or something and they need a rental. So a lot of times the millennials, they tell me they find me that way. We ask every person that comes in, and it's a prompt in our software. And more of the millennials are the ones that are responding Yelp and Google Maps.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. So now touching on the website, you have to have everybody, most people hopefully at this point knows that you need a mobile-friendly version of your website, but do you have different techniques for kind of the baby boom gen versus, another generation coming to your site? Like, what does the text look like? Is it, I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Is it bigger, right? Are the CTAs bigger? Or kind of what's a theme there that works well?
Yeah, so our whole website is designed to be user-friendly for baby boomers and beyond. So we do use larger font. I don't like to crowd buttons. I like big buttons with either big text, or in our product ones, we just put a big picture of the product with the word labeling it below, not the small headers or the bars with maybe 8 words all in a row. It gets to be too cramped. So we want it to be easy to browse and easy to visually see the product or the word. So even if they have really, really low vision, the word, even though it's in a larger font than normal, is still too small. The picture visually triggers, oh, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, interesting. And then, I think that your guys' site is lead gen at this point. I'm not sure if you can make purchases online. So what are your tips for other companies that have lead gen as their main source for a baby boom? I fill out the form. What are the next steps?
Yeah, so promptness. So have the form filled, the contact always right at the top. You can do the pop-up maybe 30 seconds, a minute into their browse and remind them or try to capture their information again. If you have any sort of product, pricing, rental for us request, have somebody that's doing that 7 days a week. Responding quickly is key, especially in my industry, but I think in all industries, no matter your generation, our attention spans have shortened. People want information and they want it now. So being prompt with those responses has been really important. And then creating yourself as an expert. The testimonials on there, the about you and why your company's different and better and unique are really important. And again, they're looking for answers and researching even as they're on your site.
Cool. So, I think that kind of brings the theme, I guess, of the show today is that education and demonstrating value is important for the baby boom generation. Mm-hmm. So, I find that really interesting because I guess, when I'm shopping, right, or, I feel like I need to make sure that I'm buying the right product. But, it's interesting to hear that there's a lot of, almost like text-heavy stuff on a website works, right? As long as you're demonstrating the product, showing how valuable it is, and making sure that you have all the information that's not kind of hidden, because there's the baby boom gen really likes to research and do their, the internet is amazing, right, for anybody that's involved with it. So you need to make sure to add a ton of value. So, Erica, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. It was really great. Yeah, it was a really great conversation. And we'll see you. There'll be a link to Erica's website in the bottom of the show notes, and we'll see you next time. This is This Week in Marketing from the American Marketing Association San Diego chapter.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released, and to encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. Scale will help you work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, visit us online at scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.